Hey everyone, this is Cathy Homeyer, and welcome to Nourishing Your Multidimensional Body. And as people chime in today, I'll give a little background on myself. So by the time people come in, Kira, people will be listening to you. So background on myself. Nourishing Your Multidimensional Body is my show title, and it's really cool to have Kira here today because we have a different view on nourishing your multidimensional body. I'm actually in the Adirondack Mountains of New York State. Sorry, wrong thing. I just clicked the wrong buttons there. I'm in the middle of the Adirondack Mountains, and if you want to go here while we're talking, I'm going to give you a website to go to. We have a live webcam, lodgeonlakeclear.com. I'm going to put that up. We have a live webcam, and if you go to that page and scroll down, you'll be able to see a beautiful snowy lakefront with mountains, and that is called the Healing Woods. They actually call the Adirondack Mountains the Healing Woods, and many people came to the Adirondack Mountains years ago when they had TB. And they felt it was the fresh air, and they just said the fresh air. But when you look into it more deeply, they find that the pine essence from the trees were something that really helped the respiratory system of the TB patients. So I'm just going to type this up again while people are coming on, that they can go to that website, and I have a live webcam. At www.lodgeonlakeclear.com. And you can actually see the Healing Woods of the Adirondacks essence there. There's a portal over the lake. And yeah, I love living in here. I was, Kira, I was looking for my dragon tree picture, but couldn't find it. But I'll mention that later so people can go to that. So yeah, so being in the middle of the woods, I'm really happy to be talking with Kira Lani, who does Tree Gong. And she's going to tell us all about that. And I'm excited to hear it because I was just telling her, I hear bits and pieces, and I live in the midst of these beautiful trees. And if you can see in my background, I'm actually in one of my lodging rooms where we brought in some trees to kind of go over the bed. So Kira, welcome, and tell us how you got started with Tree Gong.
Thank you, Cathy. I love being connected with you and your trees. As you were talking, I could feel the trees, the healing trees of the Adirondacks calling me. So I'm really excited for when we finally get to connect live out there and visit the trees, the dragon tree that you shared the picture. It's really quite amazing. So glad to be here. Thank you so much. And yeah, so wow, the how I got started is a long story. So that's why I brought the Grandpa Cedar picture. So I'd love to share that picture with our audience because Grandpa Cedar is actually who started it all about 20 years ago now. I first was connected with this tree as a teacher. Actually, we had been connecting with this tree on a daily walk with my mother for a couple years when he first reached out to me to connect in a new way. So my mom had this walk she would take every day, and we would visit this tree, and this view is from right next to the tree, so you can kind of imagine what it looks like if you're hugging Grandpa Cedar and looking up at him. That's what this is a picture of here. And so every time we walk on this walk, we hug Grandpa Cedar, and it's a beautiful ritual. One day when my mom was visiting Hawaii, aloha, right as I say Hawaii, there pops up aloha, my Hawaiian friend. Thank you for joining. And I was visiting, I went on the walk by myself, and I was visiting Grandpa Cedar, and I went to hug him, and I felt this pulling in, like he didn't want to let me go, like he's holding me there. And it felt like he was saying to me, where is that lady that visits me every day? I miss her. And so I connected in, and I said, Grandpa Cedar, with my mind, please look out for my mother way over there across the ocean. And I imagined her sitting on the beach. And then the next day, when I talked to her, she shared with me that Grandpa Cedar had come to her when she was sitting on the beach. So it was this great confirmation. And at the time, I told Grandpa Cedar that we would always be connected. And only recently has that really become true, that we are always connected. And it is because I have stepped into this work. The trees are calling us back to be connected with our true nature as a part of nature. And Grandpa Cedar has become one of my main teachers and guides. Since he first communicated with me, I have trained in many different healing modalities. I always practiced yoga, so I became a yoga teacher. Then I studied massage therapy, which led me to Qigong. And Qigong opened up my energetic awareness in new ways, which I realized recently had only been opened previously by Grandpa Cedar. So Grandpa Cedar was my first Qigong teacher. This is something Sifu Boggy said to me recently. And I was like, you're right. He was actually my first Qigong teacher. And now I have been, after training in depth with many amazing Qigong and Tai Chi teachers, I have been bringing together my natural proclivity for trees and the ways that the trees speak through me with the amazing practices of ancient healing arts of Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, breath work, meditation. And the whole idea is to bring people back to their true nature through connecting in with ancient wisdom, through self-healing practices, and the ancient wisdom that comes through the trees. So very, very nourishing to the multidimensional body. When I was thinking of coming on your show, I was like, oh, I know that Cathy's thing is more about the vibrations of food, but really there are so many ways to nourish the multidimensional being. So,
yeah, and my whole program is about, it's not all about food. It's not about food. It's much more multidimensional. And I'll be launching a lot more with the Nutritional Energetics program. It sounds like food, but it's much more than food. And we're getting to know that it's really not even about food per se. So yeah, much more on that. But and the trees, Kira, are actually connected, right?
Yes, the trees are actually connected. So it's interesting because scientifically it's been shown that trees are connected in their community network, and they share nutrients through their roots, through the mycelial network, which is actually mushrooms connecting tree roots. And yet in my experience, they are also very energetically connected around the globe. As you may recall from my story, my very first experience, the tree went and telepathically communicated with my mother across the ocean. I was in Oregon, she was in Hawaii. And so that's the way that I experienced it before I ever knew about the scientific connection that has been shown experimentally, that the trees pass nutrients. I experienced the trees connecting energetically around the entire globe. It feels like a fiber optic network of tree communication. And it's like the electrical impulses. Remember, we are all energy, the trees, the humans, the planet. We are much more energetic than material. And I think this is touching on a little bit of what you were saying about how you're nourishing the multidimensional being is not just about food by any means, because it's about the vibrations and the energy. So I'm actually really excited because I'm launching in March a Qigong facilitator training, and we're going to talk about how to create transformational experiences for others. The trees in, I guess it was in November, Mother Gaia and the trees started saying, hey, it is time to train the people that are going to help you with this mission. You can't bring all the people back to their nature. You need other people to help with this. And so I have designed a facilitator training to, like I said, launch in March. And through this training, whoever chooses to step into this will learn, will go through my transformational experience, which I'll describe in a moment, and then also learn the structure to create transformational experiences for others, both through sharing my signature tree gong practice and also bringing in any other modalities that you already utilize to help people heal.
Mm-hmm. So no matter where you are, Kira, you don't have to be in nature to communicate with trees. I mean, there's, even in cities, I guess you've certainly got the trees there. So how, it's just in a brief, how would you tell someone to connect with the trees or to start the process just in general?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually a short article in the Akashic magazine. If you all haven't downloaded your copy of the Akashic magazine, I also did a short article in that I wrote about what you're asking right here. So I'll share in brief, and you can also read that article if you want to get a little more. So it's really about to connect with the trees in this way, where we're connecting energetically and possibly even receiving guidance and information through the trees. It's really about tuning into your subtle awareness. And so we start by just really opening up all of the 5 senses that we're really familiar with using, the senses of touch and taste and smell, and of course, sight and sound. And then through really paying attention to the way that we physically gather information, then we begin to also open up this subtle energetic awareness. And that's really what the practices that I teach are all about: the breath and the movement, and the meditation practices are about tuning into the subtle awareness, which is also turning on the innate healing capacity of the body. I love how you mentioned that just being in the presence of the trees and inhaling their aromas is so healing. I encourage people to slow down and just be really present in the presence of the trees. And this can, like you said, this can even be a tree that's growing on a sidewalk in a city. It doesn't have to be a forest. You will get an amplified effect by being in a park or a forest. But even one tree can offer this healing vibration to you if you take the time to slow down. And I know some people get nervous about even touching a tree in public too long. I understand that's a big edge for people. We feel like, oh, someone's going to judge us and call us a tree hugger. I own it myself. If somebody calls me a tree hugger, I take it as a compliment. Yes, that's me. I'm a tree hugger. And so sometimes I encourage people, if they're feeling that shyness about someone seeing them, you don't even actually have to touch the tree to receive that healing vibration. You can just be under the tree, be present, slow down, and take some time to take in what is there in that moment through all of your senses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say the old tree hugger connotation is a funny one. So yeah, anybody just starting out, but within what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought what I was going to say, but within the Healing Woods here, it really was called the Healing Woods. And again, it wasn't, when people had TB, it wasn't about hate to say it wasn't really about the food they ate, although they had special diet. And the best ones actually came up year after year and got a cabin in the woods, got food delivered to them, and stayed in the woods. There's a couple of wonderful books that I can put in the comments. And this woman who's well known for being out in the woods and in nature, and healing herself of TB just by the attention and the time that she took to do that. So yeah, it's really interesting. And certainly there's forest bathing now. I was telling Kira before, there's a woman nearby, a couple of women nearby that do forest bathing on our property. So we walk around and do kind of a forest bathing type of process. So yeah, really interesting. Of course we know, but we don't know, right? And we always have to kind of be reminded when we're running around, even in the city, there's a tree, connect to, the tree or ancient wisdom that's all around us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely had some powerful experiences, even with trees, like right there in the city. So it's good to remember that and to really remember that we as humans actually have access. The trees are constantly connected into the Akashic records. They're in that state because trees are in meditation. This is another thing that Sifu Bagi shared with me, that some philosophies say that if you really reach enlightenment, then you get to reincarnate as a tree and just be in meditation for a very, very, very long time. So it's really powerful to connect to that part of you as a human that is the same as the tree. I've had some powerful meditation experiences just in recognizing that the space in me is the same as the space in the tree. We are just at the essence elements swirling around in energy. And yeah, I'd love to share more about, I know we titled this, How Does Tree Gong Nourish Your Multidimensional Being? So I'd love to make sure that we get to that little picture that I shared with you and talk a little bit about that.
Okay, we'll bring that up.
Yeah, so this is a picture that is brought to you courtesy of the International Institute of Qigong and Tai Chi, the IIQTC. I hope I did that right. Which is formed by the amazing Dr. Roger Yanka. So I want to make sure to give credit for that, credit where credit's due. This amazing picture showing how the energy is swirling, spiraling up from the earth and down from the heavens to swirl together into the energy of life. And then you can see the energy shooting out of the fingertips and the feet, and then swirling up and around in the toroidal field is also represented here. The dantians, the tai chi in the center. The symbol that we usually think of as yin yang is called tai chi, technically. And that is the combining of the energy of earth and heaven into what they call the energy of man. And so the practice of Tree Gong at its essence is an enhanced version of Qigong. And in Chinese medicine, we talk about the 4 ways to bring in energy. So the first way is any way that you bring something physically into your body. This is your food, your liquid, your air. And what really struck me in learning this is that 70% of the energy that we bring physically into our bodies is through the breath. So whether you're eating 3 meals a day or you're fasting, either way, 70% of your energy is coming from your breath. That's why breath is so important. In fact, let's just all take a deep breath right here in honor of the breath.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, the breath is life. We all know that's the most vital nutrient, because you can go days without food, I mean, even months without food, days without water, and you cannot go more than a few minutes without breath before you will leave your body. So, so important. And then the second way that we bring in energy is through movement. And so this is movement that gathers more energy than it uses. We can do movement that uses more energy than it generates, and then we're not really gathering energy. Then we have to replenish it afterwards. So this is specific ways of moving, which are generally found in Qigong, Tai Chi. A lot of the kinds of yoga will have movements that generate more energy than they use. And then the third way that we bring in energy is through the thought, through the mind. The mind is such a powerful tool when utilized to bring energy in. So this is where we think about, how are we talking to ourselves? Are we bringing in thoughts and ideas that generate energy? I'm sure you've all had a thought that made you feel energetic and excited, and then had another thought that brought you down and lowered your energetic vibrations. So this is actually a very important place to focus as well. And then the fourth way that we bring in energy is through our environment. And this is, again, if you can think about places where you've been that felt uplifting and nourishing, actually being in nature is nourishing your multidimensional being. And you can feel it on the physical level as well, the difference of from when you spend time in nature and you don't. So the foundation of the practices that I teach is based on this idea of creating a practice for yourself, which is not just the time you set aside for yourself in the morning, but the time that you spend throughout your day, bringing in more and more of an awareness to creating a life where you are constantly overflowing yourself with energy because you're practicing breath practice. And even when you notice you're low, just taking a deeper breath now and then can be a breath practice. It can be a powerful way to bring energy into your day, to just say, oh, I'm feeling a little low. Take a deeper breath. Oh, that feels so much better. It really makes a difference. Just one breath mindfully brought in. And that's why we practice mindful movement. And again, we learn the practice of spending our time, spending half an hour doing a qigong or yoga practice. But then the more we can bring that postural awareness and the mindfulness into our daily movements, even when we're washing the dishes or driving the car, a lot of what I teach is, how do we bring this awareness into our daily activities? No matter what you're doing, you are generating more energy than you are using up in the process. And so again, meditation can be a seated practice where you sit and quiet your mind, but it can also be a practice of bringing that mindful awareness into your day, throughout your day, paying attention to your self-talk, paying attention to the ways that you are interacting with the world. And this is when we really up-level our multidimensional being, when we bring this awareness into every part of our day. And then even with the time in nature, if you spend enough time in nature, you can start bringing that nature back with you, bringing that feeling of being in nature into even those times when you're stuck in the airport. And I actually am always... And I find that when I'm traveling and I'm in that, radiation environment where it could be so detrimental, I look out the windows and I look at the sky and the clouds, and I connect even from inside the airport or the airplane, connect to the essence of nature. And then I'm continuing to nurture and nourish myself in that process. So thank you for letting me take all that time to share that. I know we're running close.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I think it's really important that we've all gotten the idea of a spiritual practice, but to really know how to bring it into your day is harder than trying to meditate or anything. So I love to do that through food and different processes that I do too, is how do you bring it into your day? How do you continue not just in, trying to quiet in meditation, but how do you quiet yourself in an airport, in a really active place. And I also want to say, I see a bunch of comments coming through, but I don't see them on the bottom to lift up. So I do want to say thank you for the comments. Carrie and I will, if there's questions, we'll answer them in the comments below. I appreciate them. So keep them coming in, but I can't post them up. So I'm not sure why they're not showing. I see that there's comments coming in, but I can't post them up. So please do know that if there's a question down there, I'm not ignoring you. We'll go back and comment on those comments. So thank you. Yeah. So Kira, how do people contact you?
Okay. So I am Kira Lonnie here on Facebook, and I'm right now very present on Facebook. So that's a good way if you want to reach out to me directly and learn more about my work, both in group and one-on-one context. I do personal healing as well as the trainings that I do. And so please reach out to me for any advice, reflections, healing, or if you're interested in joining my facilitator training, I also have a virtual retreat coming up next week on Sunday with the amazing Teresa Warren and Robin McClendon. And we will be doing a deep dive in and going in. We will do a wing activation, a Reiki attunement, a dragon meditation, and many other nourishing breath, movement, meditative practices. And if you are feeling called to join the facilitator training and you commit within this coming week, I'm going to throw in that virtual retreat as well. So I hope to see many of you there. And yeah, reach out to me here on Facebook. Be my friend. I love connecting with new people. And my website is practiceselflove.com. All one word, no caps.
And Kira, what day and time is your Akashic Academy show?
Oh, yes. And my show. Please connect with me there. It is on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific.
Okay.
Tree Gong. Perfect.
Okay, so that's your Tree Gong show. There, we'll post that up too. And again, thank you for putting the comments in. I don't know why, maybe because I bopped our faces in and out there that one time. They're not showing, but we will answer your comments in there. And thanks for coming on. I also have a retreat this coming weekend on site. We're going to do a couple of virtual links, but I also have one on site there at Lodge on Lake Clear. Many of you know that I actually live and work within a lodge and restaurant where we offer space for people to come and rejuvenate. And we'll be offering monthly convergence and wellness. And so there'll be different folks every time. On Sunday, probably during your time, we have a Himalayan guest chef coming here and doing some of his Tibetan food and telling us about mindful living in where he's from. So that I'm really excited about that too. That's really cool. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining in. Kira, thank you for telling us about Tree Gong. Even though, like I said, I see bits and pieces, I'm always excited to interview people so I get kind of a little bit of background and also the overall gist of what things are about. And yeah, a lot of us go into many different, I don't want to say directions. I think we all have kind of a niche. So it's really neat to see yours as well. So anything else that you'd like to add?
Oh, just that I'm so excited to coordinate with you someday and live and or virtual retreat. I feel like you're like, again, I feel your trees calling me, and I can't wait to come and meet them.
Cool. Yeah, we've got some interesting ones. I think just in the past, I've picked out a few, like the dragon tree. We have two huge ones here. And we have a lot of wood. If you can see in my room here, we've actually used a lot of wood in our lodgings. And in our newest ones that we've built, we actually have the trees that were standing on that particular space were milled and put back into the house. So that's really neat to kind of have that. They're made from the trees right from where they were standing, even though unfortunately we did, cut them down. We have them standing right within the houses where they were. So we use a lot of, you can see the knotty pine, a lot of Adirondack knotty pine and different things. So, and I grew up, actually, my dad was a wonderful woodworker and worked with wood. So I've had an affinity for wood and trees from day one, because I love working with wood and making things with wood as well. So yeah, my husband made his the beer and wine cellar for the restaurant downstairs all out of custom wood, and designed it from, again, wood from the property that were taken down by lightning and stuff that we had to take down. He built the beer and wine cellar from wood from the property in a really unique way. So yeah, I grew up working with wood and just love trees as well. So I'm sure you and I will set some dates and times and connections. So thanks everybody for coming on. Again, place your comments in and we will answer them on the forum after the show, or within a little bit at least. And thank you so much for coming on to nourish your multidimensional body through trees and tree energy. So thank you, Kira.
Thank you, Cathy.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.